welcome back. It is now game week 11. My name is Luke Kempner. Welcome to Who's Your Captain? Well, here we are. I'll be honest with you, everyone. I'm livid. I'm absolutely livid. I've had a green arrow this week. I've gone up to 1.9, the heady heights of 1.9 million in the world. Oh, I'm absolutely delighted with that, mate. It's not a good season. Do you know what? I'm fuming because I'll show you my points. Right, we're going straight into it. Let's have a look at. There's my points. I got 67. That's a green arrow. The average was 58. It's not even that bad. It's just like the guy I'm chasing, which I'll show you when we get to the league. The guy I'm chasing, Chris Thatcher, who's top of the league. He got another 10 points this week on his wild card, right? And also, I'll tell you some players I recommended to people. You can look back at the video last week. Sorry, this is a man having a breakdown. You could be watching FPL Raptor, who's absolutely smashing it this year. Don't watch FPL Raptor. Watch a man have a breakdown. Right. I recommended Daka to people. He scored. I recommended Almiron to he scored. I took Morgan Gibbs-White out. He got an assist. I went for 7 days working out what I should do with my team. I got rid of Morgan Gibbs-White, I got rid of Trent. Trent got 0, fine. Morgan Gibbs-White got an assist, brilliant. Maddison got 1 point, Justin got 1 point. What is the point? You might as well stick your finger in the air and see the wind and hope. Awful. I hate this game. I'm going to quit. It's rubbish. It's a stupid game. Who else did I recommend? Kepa. Told everyone to get Kepa as the Arga. He got a clean sheet. Nothing I do works. And it's been like this since April last year. Anyway, thank you so much for coming back. Lovely to have you all here. Now, I have got a wonderful guest with me this week. He's called Dan Cook. Now, before we get to Dan, let me just show you. Here's my team. 2 points for Pope. Brilliant. Cancelo 18. Obviously happy about that. Trippier with 7. James with 1. Justin with 1. James! Oh my God! He's so infuriating. We'll get to that. Maddison, 1 point. Martinelli, fantastic. Arsenal top of the league. Fantastic. Kevin De Bruyne, 6. Although he doesn't get anywhere near the amount of points that Foden gets. That's annoying. Gross. Also annoying. It doesn't get as many points as Trossard does. Jesus, 5. Fine. Haaland, 12. Obviously, everyone's got Haaland. I have a show called Who's Your Captain? And the point is, it's Haaland every week. Until next week. Game week 12. Okay, Ward as backup, Mitrovic 0, Nico Williams 1, Andreas 6. Okay, that's my team. But we're going to get into all sorts of stuff. It's boring looking at last week. But first, let's go to talk to my wonderful guest. It's Dan Cook. Get yourself off mute. How are you, Dan? Thank you so... Look, there he is. Hello, Dan. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well. How are you, Luke?
I'm very good. I've also realised I forgot to tell everyone to like and subscribe. I'm going to press this little button. It should work. Does this work? Oh, it does work. There you go. Who's Your Captain? Click that. Subscribe to that. And I'd love to get to 100 subscribers by the end of this episode. That would be fantastic. Give it a like. It helps the algorithms, helps me, and makes this all worthwhile. Now, Dan. How are you, Dan? Thank you so much for coming on, man. Now, this is Dan Cook, everyone. Dan Cook is one of my favourite comedians. I went to see Dan Cook's Edinburgh show called Carpet, which was in 2018?
18, yeah.
2018. It was one of my favourite things I saw that year. I absolutely loved it. So many twists and turns. Such incredible energy. It's so funny, heartwarming, different. I've absolutely loved it. You've done some amazing stuff. You were in the absolutely fabulous movie. You were in Poldark. You've been working with Spielberg. But all I want to... you're working with Spielberg. What I want to talk about is that advert you did where you're in the restaurant. It's so good.
Thank you.
What is that for?
Talk. A bit of a free plug there for Talk.
Well, we shouldn't give them that, should we? But I mean, well, you got paid, to be fair. But,
they did pay me, yeah.
I hope they paid you well. You're fantastic in that advert.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, it was good fun. We went to Liverpool to film it in an empty restaurant during COVID times.
Usually you have to fly to like Budapest and don't talk to anyone. So that's nice.
No, I've done a few of them.
Yeah, I got some of them under your belt. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Look, Dan, that's your background. I want to talk about FPL. Now, you're a big fan of FPL.
Love it.
Now, you've been playing for how many years?
A lot of years.
You have been playing since 2017-18. I'll tell you that. You've done 5 full seasons. You're into your 6th season.
And I would have done it when I was a kid as well, when I was younger, when you had it in the newspaper. Do you remember that?
Sent it off.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that's
man,
right.
I didn't know you were.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had a big gun. We had a big gun on.
I seem to remember for some reason always buying Danny Cadamartri, and I don't know why. I always felt in my bones he was going to have a big season.
Danny Cadamartri. Always he used to get a red. He used to get quite a lot of reds, didn't he, Danny Cadamartri? Like
I tell you what, he didn't get goals.
I could never get on board with the old sending it off. Never had the patience for that.
Yeah.
I now have too much patience and sell Morgan Gibbs White is what happens. Now I'm having a little look at your history. You started off slow. You finished one.
Is this season?
No, in 2017-18, you got a little 1.5 million finish. And then 2018-19, just up underneath 500,000. And then 2019-20, a vintage year. 71,000 in the world. Very nice. 2020-21, you 700,000 in the world. A little bit of a fallback. Then you've come back last season, 410,000 in the world. So would you rate yourself as a fantasy football player? Do you take it seriously?
Yes and no. I do take it seriously. I've had to sort of take I've had to have a word with myself about it because I took it too seriously, and it would affect my mood.
Was it affecting your marriage?
Yeah, my wife hates it. She's actually got a routine in a new show about me playing fantasy football.
Oh, has she? Amazing.
Yeah,
so Dan's wife is another fantastic comedian called Rose Johnson, who I've known for many years. So she's got a routine about you playing fantasy. I love how I can't even come up with a routine for fantasy football, and Rose has got one. That's amazing.
Well, it's 10 minutes of her slagging me off, basically.
Good. That sounds like good, solid material. So you've had a little word with you. So when you say you've taken a step back, how have you done that?
So I would say previously I would be on the blogs. I'd be on YouTube watching videos.
Yes.
I'd be looking at the statistics and trying and listening to experts as well. Like I'm a subscriber to The Athletic, and I would read.
Yes.
They would do. Do you do that? They sort of. I can't remember who it is. It's like Ben Dinnery and someone else.
Oh,
they
Ben
do
Dinnery.
this sort of.
And FPL General, mate.
Yeah, that's
FPL
right.
General, the Irish fella.
They do their Q&A sort of just before, and I would read it religiously and go through it, and you would sort of be influenced by what they were suggesting to these other people. And it turns out no one knows anything. No one knows anything about any of it.
Don't say that, Dan. I've come up with a YouTube channel. The people are coming here for the advice that they can't. That Dan is being absolutely incorrect. You're like Michael Gove when people said they've had enough of experts. People haven't had enough of experts. They need more of them. And I am.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying people don't want to hear what other people's opinions are, what they've got to say about it. I'm not saying that.
It's just all bollocks.
It's just all bollocks. I was speaking to my brother about this. I was like, so much of this is pure luck. It's so much luck. He said, no, it's not. You need to know. People know about these things. You need to know a lot about football. And I'm like, do you? Do you really do?
What if you could put a percentage on it? Put a percentage luck, percentage skill.
Great question. Absolute great. It's a fantastic question because I've been thinking about this. I would say it's 20% skill.
Whoa.
80% luck.
No, I'm not having that.
Yeah. You will have to. You will have to know that Brighton under Graham Potter at the start of the season are frisky and feisty.
Yes.
Okay, you would have to know that. But to go to select McAllister is pure luck.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. But I think, do you know where I think the skill comes into? Forward thinking, knowing the fixtures that are coming up, and knowing the blanks that are coming up, and
Fine.
knowing players that are injured, knowing that players that have been playing in midweek, knowing the players that have had good stats. Sort of who've been sort of putting up good stats but might not have been getting the rewards. Maybe it's time to bring in those kind of players. I feel like that's where the skill comes in.
Sure, that's a strategy, and that's particularly come into play the past 2 seasons, particularly when COVID was disrupting everything, and you'd have to plan well in advance, particularly with your chips and stuff like that. But that, and I think that is literally the 20% of it, because I think I could give. I reckon I could get my wife to pick a team that would finish.
You're saying your wife could do it on her own, mate? saying your wife couldn't just come out of it on her own?
No, I'm saying she could. I'm saying she
Okay,
could. I
yeah.
think she could pick a team that
Well,
would finish sort of mid-table.
and to be fair, like Chris Thatcher, who we're going to talk about, Chris Thatcher, who's leading the league. Well, without further ado, let's go to the league. Now you haven't got the league in front of you, but I'm looking at here. You've not joined the league yet. You're gonna join the Who's Your Captain League. If you want to join it, everyone, let me just put where's the little join the league thing? There it is. I'll put that up there. There we go. So if you want to join the league, the code is XFAJ7V. We'd love to have you in the league. Now, Chris Thatcher's at the top, and he's on 617 points because everything he touches at the moment goes to gold. But his wife, Mary, she started playing about 3 years ago, beat us all in the first year just by picking the players that did well the week before.
Yeah, well, Camille
Uchan,
who's in Birthday Girls with Rose, she did it a few years ago, and she was absolutely, she knows nothing about football. She was absolutely fine.
Oh, don't say that. No, right? Dan's talking rubbish. We very much need me and this YouTube channel. So we're looking at the league here. Alistair Bruce Ball, who the BBC commentator, he is second. Iain Stirling up to third. We're going to be hearing from Iain later on. He sent us a little voice note with a question. Jack Stein, the chef, is doing very well in fourth. Alex Brooker's gone up to fifth. And I mean, where it is luck is I saw Alex Brooker in the pub before the Arsenal game, and he said to me, he goes, you told me not to get Son, and I got Son, and he got a hat trick. I'm like, yes, Alex, but he wasn't starting. That's what I told you. I said, don't get Son because I don't think he's going to start. And then he comes on and gets a hat trick. Well, look how well Son's done since.
Yeah, he's done nothing all season.
Yes. So it was a bit of luck getting that. To be fair to Alex, he admitted it was a little bit of luck. Now, I have got a little green arrow. I've gone up to seventh. I mean, imagine being seventh in your own league that you've set up yourself. It's embarrassing. Now, where would you be on this, Dan? How many points have you got?
Yeah, I've got 10. I've got about 10 less points than you. I reckon I'll be about 10th, I think. 11th, maybe, where Annie is.
Okay, yes. Annie McGrath in her maiden season. Who's on 5? She's in 11th place, Annie's Angels. Well, look, Dan, let's have a little look at your points from last week. So I'm going to get Dan's points up from last week. Here's your points. Now, talk us through the team. I've got it on the screen now. You talk us through your week.
Yeah, so we've got Raya in goal, I'm very much a select and sit for a goalkeeper, and very much around the 4.5 million. I'm not going to be spending much more than that. And Ray has sort of had a sort of average season. They were absolutely battered at Newcastle, so ended up with 0. I've got James, who, again, you were saying, very frustrating player. Transferred him in a few weeks back, or this week, actually. Transferred him in this week, nothing.
I hate him, honestly.
But why do you hate him?
He's up there with Nicholas Anelka for hate. Because I hate Nicholas Anelka because he left in 1999. I've never gotten over it.
To Real Madrid,
and then paid for our new training ground. But I hate Nicholas Anelka. But I hate James because I've had James all season, right? Because he's a monster. We know what he can do. I captained him last season when he had a double game week. He got about 4,000 points in the first game and then got rested for the Norwich game. Yeah. That was good.
I remember that.
Chris, the guy I'm chasing, what I'm talking about, Chris, everything he touches turns to gold at the moment. Right? He's not had James all season. He's like, oh, I'm a bit worried about James. I ain't got James. Right? And now James brings him in this week. Right? Now, I know we're going to talk like that. James is potentially injured. Okay, so Chris hasn't had a slice of luck there. But the point is so many weeks James should have had mega points, and then it's just frustrating. Isn't he frustrating?
Yeah, he's very frustrating. In terms of other defenders, I've got Kieran Trippier, who has been my signing of the season. I feel. I think he was 5 million when I signed him, and he's giving me returns. And that Newcastle defence he's
a must.
Look at this: 7-7-6-2-0, then 8-5-7-7.
It's massive.
Yeah, he's
and he was great. Since they've signed him, he's been for FPL. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean those free kicks he takes, so fantastic. Diego Dalot, who's been nothing. I don't know why I've got him. Midfield wise, I think this is a fairly strong midfield. I got Zaha. He's giving me stuff. De Bruyne, Martinelli, Trossard, Foden. I tell you what, Foden brought him in not the week that I've just had, but the week before when he scored 19 points.
Wow.
and I left him on the bench.
No!
Yeah.
Why were you benching Man City players?
Because
When
I
you say there's 20% luck, I'm sorry, that's
yeah.
100% idiotic.
Can I talk you through my process, though? I brought Foden and Zaha in that week, and Mitrovic wasn't injured, and Mitrovic was playing at home against some joke team. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Foden was... I didn't know that... I wasn't sure that Foden would start, and he was playing against Man United, who up until that point looked like they were getting frisky again. And Zaha was home against Chelsea, and Potter had just come in. And I was thinking, I had the feeling in my bones that Zaha would get a penalty or something like that and get me some points. And I didn't have room for the 5 in midfield. So I think I'm going to leave Foden on the bench. And it was a disaster.
Yeah.
19 points. Lost 19
that must
points.
have stung.
It really stung. And do you know that this is the thing. This is why I needed to take a step back from FPL occasionally, because I was driving home from I think I'd done a gig in Wales or something like that. I was driving home listening to the football. And as soon as you say there's been a goal in the game with Man City, I was like, well, it's obviously Phil Foden, isn't it? And it was. Of course it was. And that entire 5 hours in the car, it's just goal after goal.
This is what I was like, Dan. Like when I was watching the Nottingham Forest game on Monday night, right? I've taken all week to decide to bring in Maddison and Justin, and sold Trent and Morgan Gibbs-White, right? And I'm watching that Nottingham Forest game, watching it, and they're like, yeah, it's a goal. And I'm like, oh, who got this? Of course it's Morgan Gibbs-White. Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
You've done anything.
It's just...
Of course it is. I get so angry.
And the fact that Haaland got a hat-trick in that match against United meant nothing to me. It meant nothing, because everyone's got Haaland and everyone's captaining. Haaland in fantasy football is just a non-event now.
No, it's pointless.
It doesn't matter. No. It doesn't matter.
Well, try having a YouTube channel called Who's Your Captain? It's not a particularly long part of the episode, but like also
you should have it.
Yeah. Well, no, go on. Work on this. I need this.
I'm just saying you should. Who's your captain? Open brackets. It's probably Haaland, close bracket.
Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't Haaland. Well, as well with watching this sort of non-event of having Haaland, I saw the other day that FPL posted, look at this guy. He went against Haaland and he got 108 points this week, right? And I looked at his team and he's not got Haaland in it. But they never show their league position. Like, it'll be 7 millionth in the world without Haaland.
Yeah, I have a sneaky suspicion all these teams of the week are second or third teams from people who are doing the maddest thing. Yeah, like they're just triple captaining Embuemo or something.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Okay, well, look. So you've had how many points did you get in total?
63.
63. Okay, it's okay. It's 5 above the average. You've got work to do, Dan. You've got work to do.
I really do.
Before we move on from that, now are you in sort of a main mini league? Have you got a main mini league that's sort of the one you want to win?
Yeah.
And is that with John Kearns as well?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so talk me through that little mini league.
It's called Fancy Football Scum League. Okay. It is a combination of comedians plus people like my brother, a few people I went to university with, and BT's husband.
Okay. Yeah. And is it very competitive? Does everyone take it seriously?
There's definitely a serious element to it, but it's also lighthearted, and we have fun with it. We've got a WhatsApp group.
You have good memes because I remember doing a gig with John Kearns, who's going to come on the YouTube channel at some point.
John Kearns thinks he's the grand master of fantasy football.
Yes. He's very good at memes though. He sent me some of the memes he sends you guys, and I laughed a lot. He's very good at memes.
I think that's probably for John's other league. He's in a league called The League, which I was in for a few years as well, and that's brutal. It's horrible.
Okay.
Fancy Football Scum League is more it's more lighthearted, and we're all trying to help each other. Apart from John, who's toxic. He's a toxic person.
No. John, I remember asking John, like, what are you doing this week? And he was like, well, I'll tell you afterwards. I mean, he's. But then I'm like that
Yeah.
in my mini league. Like we've got 4 of us who are all my mates from sort of musical theatre jobs, and it's cards close to the chest all
Of
season.
course.
The guy that's winning,
Of course.
Chris Thatcher, who's winning this league, right? He won't watch this YouTube channel out of respect for the league because he doesn't want to hear any of my ideas. I mean, I think he's lying. I think he does watch it. So, Chris, if you're watching, mate, I see you. Okay, I see you.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. That's Dan saying hi. Right. Okay. So we've had a look at your points. We're gonna get rid of that, and now we're gonna have a look at my problems for game week 12. Okay. So what the little graphic you can see on the screen now, right? The little X's are over the Man City and Arsenal players because they won't be playing, and the question marks are over the players that probably won't start. Because now I've got a bit of music here, Dan, that you won't be able to hear, but you can pretend you can. Is because we've got coming up in game week 12 a Blankety Blank. Look at you pretending to dance like you can hear it. That's fun. A little bit of fun in it. Took me about 20 minutes to put that together. Great. Okay, so we got the Blankety Blank coming up. You're obviously aware of this, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because we had Stuart Laws on last week. Wasn't aware. So...
I mean, he's a fraud.
Too many experts.
Laws is a fraud.
Yes, Stuart frauds. So, as you can see here, we've got a couple of problems because Mitrovic, we don't know if he's fit. James, we don't know if he's fit. Williams didn't start on Monday. Aurea started ahead of him, even though Williams seemed to come off at the last minute. Have you got any insight on the Williams-Aurea thing?
I think Williams is... I reckon he's out for a while whilst Aurier is doing okay.
Have you got Williams?
Yeah, I've got Williams. I think so. He'll be on the bench if I do.
But have you got... How many Man City and Arsenal players have you got? You got 3
I've
City.
got 3 City and Martinelli from Arsenal.
And you've not got a wild card, have you?
I've not got a wild card.
Okay, so now a lot of people watching, they'll have used their wild card as well. So what are you thinking going forward?
Well,
I'm going to get your team back up as well, actually.
Yeah, I think Mitrovic. Do you know what? This is great. I actually haven't.
This is
done my planning yet.
This is helpful. Hey, that's what we're here for. It's a safe space.
I'm not saying it was a waste of time. This channel. I'm not saying it's a waste of time.
Don't say that too loudly because I have to keep telling my wife, no, I've got to do this. Okay. This makes it worthwhile.
I think Mitrovic is going to be back because he was close to being back last week.
Yeah.
So that means I'll be able to have Mitrovic and Tony up front. 1, 2, and then I've got...
Did you bring Patterson on your wild card?
No, Patterson's been there from the start of the season.
Did you not sell him on your wild card?
He wasn't injured at that point.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine.
And he just, if you look at his scores just before...
no. Good guy.
He got 6 points, 2 in a row, 2 weeks in a row, and he was only 4 million.
Yeah.
And Everton defensively have been fine. You know, I was gutted.
One of the best defences in the league.
Yeah, I was gutted that he'd got injured. He's going to have to go now, though, because he's actually, expected back end of the month. See, I don't want to get rid of the lad.
But you're in a spot above here, right? Because you got Nico Williams. Everyone else, you're in a really good place. But it's just you. And how many transfers have you got this week?
2. I've got 2 transfers.
You're in a good place. You're in a good place. Okay. Well, you've got moves to make. Are you going to keep your Arsenal and City players for the fixtures coming up?
I mean, I'm going to have to get rid of them because I won't have enough players otherwise.
For 12, but for 11, so Arsenal have got Leeds away, Man City, they're going away to Liverpool. Are you going to be keeping all of your Man City and Liverpool players? Sorry, Man City and Arsenal players for this week?
Yeah, because I fancy Liverpool look shot.
Yeah.
I reckon City could do something damage. And who did you say Arsenal have got?
Leeds away.
And Leeds. I mean, Arsenal look, along with City, like the best team in the league.
Who do you support, by the way, Dan?
Watford.
I thought you were a Watford fan. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
And Leeds, I thought Leeds looked good in the first half against Palace, and then they dropped off.
Yeah.
They will get after your lot.
Well, we're going to get to the fixtures and we'll sort of give some predictions on those scores.
Okay, sure.
But I think even just looking at your team quickly, I think you're in such a good position because you've got 2 free transfers. Just use one this week. I would just do your Patterson this week. Have you got any money in the bank?
I think I've got a trickle. I've got a
It's
trickle.
trickled down. Very nice. Yeah.
Oh, I've got zero point 0.9 in the bank.
Oh,
I'm
you're
rolling in it.
sorted. You've got. I mean, you can upgrade a Patterson to a Guehi from Palace,
Yeah.
or even
Something like
a
that.
West Ham defender. Look, we'll get to that. Oh, you're in such a good position. I'm so jealous. You're going to fly up the table this week and next
What
week.
about you, Luke?
Well, I'm going to go put my team back on here because I am in a spot of trouble, Dan. Right? Because with James, like we say, we think Mitrovic is going to be back. I think James could be back as well. That Potter said after last night, he said that they need 24 hours, 48 hours to see how bad it is. James tweeted himself saying, "Let's hope it's not a bad one." I couldn't agree more, Reese. But so if they're back, okay. Williams not starting is a problem because I have got 5 with Arsenal, Man City, but I've got a wild card. So my aim is to get through game week 12 and then wild card. But I don't want Gross.
Perfect.
I want Trossard. And I don't want Williams if he isn't playing. I don't even want Pope, really. So I could wild card. But the trouble is I got an advantage having my wild card because then after, in game week 13, so if you're watching and you've got your wild card, I'm thinking game week 13, you can bring back, you can have 3 City and 3 Arsenal. And maybe Liverpool have found form then because they've got great fixtures. From 13 onwards, Liverpool's fixtures are, from 13 onwards, they've got Nottingham Forest away. Then they've got Leeds at home, Tottenham away, that's difficult, Southampton at home, and leading us up into the World Cup.
I just don't think Liverpool are the team that they used to be.
Agreed.
I mean, those fixtures are great, but do you think they're going to? I mean, they put 9 past Bournemouth, to be fair, but I don't see them smashing any teams.
Nor do I, but I just think having the wild card in 13, if Liverpool over the next couple of games, I know they've got City
suddenly
at
pick
home,
up,
but then they've got West Ham. If they suddenly pick up, then I'm in a position to bring those guys in, or whoever's looking good at this point. So I don't want to use my wild card until 13. I'll have 3 weeks of it. That's all I'll have. So I don't know. I might have to wildcard early, and that is that I didn't want to have to do that because my whole tactic was to get through and then be able to be ahead of the game with bringing in Saka and Martinelli and Jesus, and then having Cancelo, Foden and Haaland. But we'll see. We shall have to see. I think I can get through this week. I probably don't need to make a transfer this week.
You're going to have to leave it to the very last minute.
Yeah. Wait for those press conferences. Wait to hear what Ben Dinnery says.
Yeah, what does the dinner say?
Lee can finish my dinner and we'll find out. So I'm going to turn that one off now. Now, the next thing I've got is it's just a Chuckle Brothers saying, "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear." That took 10 minutes to make. There we go. The next thing is now, the next thing I've sent you this. This is predicted points game week 10. Now, this is from an account on Instagram called FPL Phillips. Give him a follow, him or her. It's a really, really good account. And what I liked, the reason I've brought this on to the channel is because often you see these things of predicted points for the game week coming up. But it's sometimes good to look back and see how true it was. Because Reece James, the reason I've got Reece James, the reason I've got Maddison, as you can see there, his predicted points is 4.7. And this is all based, this is based on models of predicted points, XG leading up to this, XA leading up to this. So Maddison, 4.7, he got 1. Okay? Wilfried Zaha, 5.2. He did get 5, Wilfried Zaha, so I should have listened to that. But Kevin De Bruyne, 6, that worked. Haaland, 8, he got 6. Reece James, 5.3, he got nothing. Raheem, he didn't even start. That's another thing. Potter is making loads of changes.
Yeah, well, Potter's prioritising Champions League, I think, just to get through the group.
Mm-hmm. And if you look, and then the next week, FPL Heisenberg put a really good thing on Twitter about if you look at the next week, right? There's games. So the deadline is Friday this week. So we've got game week 11 is. We've got games on Friday, we've got games on Saturday, we've got games on Sunday. No games on Monday. Then game week 12 starts on Tuesday. So then there's games on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. And then game week 13 starts on the Saturday. So there's so many games and not a lot of time in between them, especially for Liverpool. But I mean, not many of us are going to be bringing Liverpool players in. But I think that's worth remembering and worth not getting too frustrated about when players don't necessarily play every game. But also, I think when you're looking at transfers, and I don't know if you agree with this, Dan, but really look at those players that play those 90 minutes, the players that are just the talisman of the team.
Yeah, I mean, the only exception I make are Manchester City players, really, because I think most of my team, off the top of my head, are sort of 90-minuters. Apart from James, actually, that's a mistake.
He has been until this
He
week.
has been recently, yeah.
Yeah.
But with City players, I know you've got the Pep Roulette type thing, but they are also the type of team where Phil Foden might not start, but he'll come on. I mean, I'm talking now after I left him on the bench and missed 19 points. But he's the type of guy.
Yeah.
They're the type of team that come on. He'll bring a sub on for the last 10 minutes and Alvarez will score 2 goals.
Yes. Well, Alan Evans, who is in the league as well, he's had Alvarez since game week 1 and just keeps going, he keeps saying stuff like you've just said, but he could come on. And Scott and Mike never pick a player that's definitely going to be on the bench. I know exactly what you mean. I think, I can't remember, I was listening to a podcast the other day, I can't remember whose it was, and I feel bad because I'm not going to be able to name check them, but they called it the pottery lottery, because I think that's what it is now. You've got the Graham Pottery Lottery of who is the Pep Roulette Pottery Lottery. Who it's difficult because
Graham Potter's suddenly got himself this ginormous squad and he can't believe his luck. He's playing everyone. Everyone's getting a go every other week.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's going to get a little go. So it is difficult. I still think you've got to hold Reece James. Let's see what they say injury wise. I mean, he's every season he seems to sort of have a little 3 weeks out here, 4 weeks out here. But he's so good when he plays. So, and that's the thing. I said last week in this episode, I said Wolves is a guaranteed clean sheet. And it was. It was for Chelsea. But just Reece James didn't start. Oh, infuriating. Maybe Cucurella is a player now. Because Cucurella can play at that sort of centre-back position, but he can also play at right wing-back. So maybe Cucurella is...
Yeah, and he's about $1 million cheaper, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 5.1.
5.2, 5.1.
I mean, it's, I don't know. It's really difficult. And especially if you're trying to navigate through game week 12, then you really are going to have to pick those players that are going to be playing 90 minutes. You've just got to guarantee yourself some starters. Okay, so looking at that, I wanted to show you that because I just think it's interesting that it's mainly for me, really. I could beat myself up that I brought in Maddison, but he should have got 4.7 points according to FPL Phillips. Okay, so in the end, I was right. Okay, so I'm turning that off now. Now, this is ex-FPL points for game week 10. So these are not the points that the players got. These are the players that they got. Sorry, this is not the point that players... how do you explain XG? Dan, come on, help me out here, man.
I'm guessing the top performance by ex-FPL points is not the points that they have got, but the points that they're expected to get.
Yes, that they should have got. Here's what you should have won.
Yeah.
Okay, and this comes from Fantasy Football Fix, another great website. It's really got really good comparison tools on Fantasy Football Fix, so you can put two players up against each other and see how they've done. It goes really sort of into the minutiae of their statistics. But as you can see here, the ones I wanted to point out here is Eze. Okay, because Eze is, I don't know how many points he got, but is 8.9 XFPL. I think he got something like, I think he might have got near to that, but he's 2 million cheaper than Zaha. And if you're trying to get into those Palace fixtures, which are exceptional, they've got Leicester away next, then Wolves at home, Everton away, Southampton at home, West Ham away, Nottingham Forest away, leading up till we get that wild card during the World Cup. Eze, I think, is a really good pick. Go on, Dan.
Zaha is on pens, though, isn't he?
Yes.
And I feel Crystal Palace are the most penalty team in the... I'm sort of sure the statistics don't back that up at all, but in my head, they've got all these tricky forwards up front.
Frisky forwards.
Frisky forwards, always falling over in the box.
Yes, that is a good shout. But I just wanted to point out that Eze at 5.1, 5.2, he's a really lovely pick. And especially
that is a lovely price point as well.
And if you've not got many transfers to try and sort out your game week 12 before the Blankety Blank, I'm going to play the music. Then he could be a really good one. Skamaka is another one that is doing really well for West Ham up front. And, I know he's sort of sharing 70-30 minutes with Antonio, but he's looking great. Scamacca.
He looks class.
And
He
West
looks
Ham.
absolutely class.
And West Ham's
West
fixtures.
Ham, yeah.
Okay.
They look like the way to go.
They're really starting to build. I think more in defence than I would say going forward, but. That's rubbish actually, because Bowen is a great pick. I know he's gone up last night, but 8.2, but he's doing great.
And he's on pens now.
Yeah, I think he was a bit lucky with his assist, one of his assists, but Bowen is a good pick at 8.2. Scamacca is a good pick, another player that I recommended to people that I didn't pick. But also West Ham's fixtures, Southampton away next, and then Liverpool away in that game week 12. And Liverpool away now looks like an amazing fixture. They've lost Trent Alexander-Arnold, that might be a blessing in disguise, but they've also lost Matip. Van Dijk's not the player he has been. Robertson's still out. Fabinho can't even get into the team. Like they look like a team that is going to concede goals after goals after goals. I like the look of Scamacca. Agree. And I like the look of Bowen. So there we have it. Those are on the XFPL points from last week. And so if there's any players that you're thinking about bringing in for this week, it's always worth looking at last week and seeing how they did, especially with XFPL, even more so than their actual points. Because sometimes a player can get a little bit lucky, where I feel that XFPL XG is sometimes a truer reflection. Now, the next one I'm going to have a little look at here is preparing for game week 12. This has again come from FPL Phillips. And this is players looking forward. Okay, because in FPL, in game week 12, is when you're going to want players like Trossard. You've already got Trossard. Are you thinking of captaining him in game week 12? He's got Nottingham Forest at home. See, look at that smile.
It's tempting, but that sounds mad,
doesn't it?
If I'm honest, it sounds mad. Brighton have been great, haven't they? But it sounds like the type of thing that you do and immediately regret.
It sounds like captaining Emmanuel Dennis when Watford have got a double game week last year and then him getting sent off in the first game.
Exactly. Game week 12. Oh, actually, no, I was,
So game week 12, that's not this week, but game week 12, Brighton have got Nottingham Forest at home. Now, I don't want to talk too much about captaincy for game week 12 because I'll cover that before, in between these games. But I think it's worth mentioning because if you're going to be bringing in players this week, you want to be looking ahead to game week 12. This is where the skill does come in.
Just a quick look, I can see Mitrovic are playing Villa at home game week 12, so I'll probably go with that.
Okay. But yeah, fair enough. If he's fit.
If he's fit.
So a couple of other players worth mentioning here. Anderson, as I've already mentioned Palace's fixtures, they've got great fixtures. Anderson is such a good player. XFPL per 90 of 3.78. He's predicted to get 3.7 in game week 12. Predicted over the next 5 to get 14.8. And he's only 4.5. So if you are looking, I know Guehi is 4.3, but I think Anderson's a better player and is more dangerous from set pieces, and they have got some good set piece takers, Palace, and they've got great fixtures going up to 16. Almiron at 5.1. I think Bruno Guimaraes, who did incredibly well in the last game, he's a little bit more expensive, but Newcastle, they're looking really good attacking wise, and I'm just going to get their fixtures up here. Newcastle fixture, Man United away next, which I think probably going to be tight. What are you thinking of Man United at the moment, Dan?
They're completely unpredictable. That's what I think about Man United. If you think about when Arteta came in at Arsenal, they looked choppy still, but I always got the feeling that Arteta is a good manager and eventually will sort it out. I think Ten Hag is a good manager and he will eventually sort it out, just not at the moment.
Okay.
But what I will say about Almiron, and I don't know about you, Almiron has the whiff of a player that people are going to transfer in because he's done so well and just do nothing for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Whereas I think
more than a whiff,
are a great
a
team.
stench.
I think Newcastle are great, and you should definitely own some of their players. But Almiron, there's a risk there. But at how much does he cost?
5.1.
It's not a bad price.
I think he's gone up to 5.2 actually since I got this graphic. What about Bruno Guimaraes?
Now he looks class. For a start, he's not going to miss. He's going to be in that team no matter what.
Yep.
Whereas I can see Almiron being in and out. And he looks like a Champions League player.
He really does. He really, really, really does. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I wouldn't be recommending Newcastle too much is with that Man United fixture. Now, that's not me thinking about just because Man United, because of the name, but I think Casemiro makes a real big difference to them. And it was really good analysis on Match of the Day I saw this week. That's another thing I always recommend to people who are watching. Just watch Match of the Day. Just stick it on in the background. It helps you so much just seeing the highlights. It might sound stupid, but it really, really does make such a difference when you're thinking forward and you're not just looking, oh, look, last week so-and-so got a goal. I'll put them in. When if you actually watch the highlights, you can see, oh my God, Bowen should have got 5. But Casemiro looked very calm, very Thomas Partey style, very Thiago at his best style. So I do think that Man United, there's a chance of more clean sheets coming their way. So that's why you might be in luck with your Darlow pick.
Yeah, possibly. He does get up a bit as well, does
he? Does.
Diogo.
Yeah, so I think, looking at, they've got Newcastle, have got Man United away next, then Everton at home, which, yeah, okay, you might back them to score, but Everton are good defensively. Then they've got Tottenham away. So I don't know. I wouldn't be, chomping at the bit to get in Almiron or Bruno Guimaraes.
Well, it's a good point that you made about like watching the games, because I've been watching Everton. They're rubbish. They're rubbish. They should be losing a lot more games than they have been. And Tottenham as well. Up until the Arsenal match, because Tottenham are on TV quite a lot. They're terrible.
I know.
Before the North London derby, I was like, Arsenal are just going to rip them to shreds. And they did. Tottenham aren't good.
No, and yet Kane is second to Haaland in points.
Yeah. Well, I think Kane is worth.
It's just if they get. The thing is with Tottenham, if they score a goal, Kane's involved at the moment.
Yeah,
that's all it is, And I think because there's a lot of people talking about if you're going into this next week, like look at which premium players do you want now other than Haaland? No one. De Bruyne's not worth as much as Foden because you're never going to you're only going to captain Haaland, so you might as well have Foden over De Bruyne. So the only other potential one is Kane. Now,
I think Kane might be worth a dabble.
While you're saying that, they've got Everton at home next. You've already quoted that they're rubbish. Then they've got Man United away in that game week 12. And then I would be using my wild card. So do you think that I should be aiming to sort of get Jesus up to Harry Kane and then getting rid of De Bruyne down to a Trossard? Do you think that would be a good move?
So what were you saying? You get rid of De Bruyne and bring in Trossard, and then up front...
I would take Jesus up to Kane. So then I would have Kane, Haaland on the bench, Mitrovic up front. So I'd have Mitrovic and Haaland.
Why are you thinking of getting rid of Jesus?
Because I've got my wild card. No, because in the Blankety Blank.
Okay. Oh, in the blank, right.
I'll play the music.
Yeah, I don't mind that because although Tottenham have been playing rubbish, their game reminds me of Man United sort of over the past however many seasons. And that Man United have been rubbish, but they've got enough good players, enough world-class players to suddenly produce something out of nowhere. And Harry Kane's one of those.
Would you trust any of the Tottenham defenders at the moment?
No.
No? Not even a cheap Doherty? A Dyer?
No, because... Well, I had Perisic for a while, and he did bring me some points, but there've been so much rotation at the back, particularly at the wing backs. And I also don't trust them keeping clean sheets really either. I think there are better options out there, better teams out there.
I think the biggest one for clean sheets this week is Chelsea. Aston Villa don't score goals. And Chelsea look good. And if I was going to use my wild card because of injuries, then getting in Kepa for 4.4 is just an absolute must.
Yeah.
That is a steal.
That is a beautiful
That's a
idea.
Lundstrom's,
That
level.
is a Lundstrom. I saw you talking about that on Twitter a few days ago, and I went on to see how much Kepa's costing.
I know.
was like, that's a really good idea.
Infuriating that I told people to get him in and then he has smashed it. Because the thing is with Pope, his Popes look great. But he's 5.2, 5.3 now. It's a lot of budget on a keeper that isn't keeping clean sheets.
No, I don't think it's worth it. I never go near keepers that are sort of 5 million plus.
No. Yeah. I mean, if I use my wild card, he definitely will be my starting keeper. Okay. Well, look, we've got a couple of voice notes now. The first one is from a friend of the show and has donated me his premium Zoom, is Iain Stirling. Now, he sent me a little voice note here. It's not even me doing an impression. It's the real deal. And I'm going to play it, and you'll be able to hear it over the mic. He's got a question for us. So here's Iain. Oh, no, that's not worked. Brilliant. Here we go.
Hello, Luke. Iain Stirling here. Voice of Love Island, face of a lot less successful shows. Got a question for you. I've got injury problems to Mitrovic and Reece James, and I've got 4 City and Arsenal players in the form of KDB, Cancelo, Haaland and Martinelli. My thinking, as I don't have a wild card left, is to maybe go into the blank game week with only 10 players, holding on to Haaland, Martinelli, Cancelo and KDB. So I've then got more City and Arsenal players for the next game week 13, and I can use my transfers to deal with my injuries that I've got them out to Mitrovic and Reece James. Basically, do you recommend against taking 10 players into game week 12 if you don't have a wild card? Discuss.
Well, okay. It's an interesting question. It's a very interesting question.
I have opinions about this.
Good. Well, the first thing I'll say is obviously we've covered the fact that, wait on Reece James, wait on Mitrovic. Let's hear those press conferences before we make any decisions on that. But other than that, what is your view on Ian's question, which is really, can you hold players that aren't playing at all if you haven't got a wild card in game week 12 in the Blankety Blank?
I've been in this situation many times before.
Okay.
And when you're weighing up whether you can get through a game week with just 10 players.
Yes.
And whether it's a good idea. And I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Oh.
I think if it's a case of keeping your wild card in play for a little bit longer, and you just get through a game week with 10 players, that's absolutely fine. Think of the amount of weeks where you've had a number of players scoring 1, 2, 0 points. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. If you can sneak through a game week with 10 players on the field, just go for it.
I really like this, Dan, and I think I need to take this advice on. I'm the opposite. Because I think the way you look at it, I think this is a good way of looking at it. And I'm not saying I'm right here because I think you make such a good point. The amount of... Well, look at James. You're like, great, I've got Reece James, 1 point. And the amount of times that happens. Look at Maddison.
I'm looking at Ian's team. He got 2 points for Pope, 1 point for James, 1 point for Maddison. You can lose. You can go through with 10 players.
You can have... Haaland could get 2 points 1 week.
Yeah.
He won't.
Yeah.
He won't. Okay, but like the way I think a good way of looking at it, right, is that, okay, Man City in that game week don't have anyone. And they've got Brighton and home next. So Brighton at home in game week 13. So if you're looking at, okay, let's for example say you sell Kevin De Bruyne for Mo Salah. Would you rather have De Bruyne versus no one and Brighton and Hove Albion, or Mo Salah versus West Ham at home and Nottingham Forest away? That's, I think, sometimes the way you got to look at it. Because one player's got 2 fixtures, one player's got 1.
It's like, I mean, I think this is slightly different. I'm talking like if he's got a transfer to spare, then go ahead and do that transfer, and then as long as you can bring in De Bruyne or whatever the week after. Yeah. I'm sort of talking about in terms of when you've got no transfers left.
Yeah, and you don't want to minus for it.
And you don't want to minus for it. There's no harm in going through with 10 players.
And especially if you're going to have to bring them back straight afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is really good advice, I've often sort of like, no, get 11 out, whatever happens, get 11 out.
Yeah.
But actually...
It doesn't make a huge amount of difference.
Okay, then what about for me? Because I've got a wild card in 13.
Right.
So whatever I do, I can get out of it in 13. Whoever I sell. They're coming right back with open arms.
Yeah.
Arm around the shoulder, kiss on the cheek, little tap on the bum. You're back in the team. It's fine. It's a bit of banter. Everyone's okay with it. What do you think? Do you think that I can...
So you get a wild card for 13. You've got your blank on 12. Is that right?
Blank on 12. The blankety blank on 12.
The blankety blank on 12.
So, but
then
essentially, if everyone's fit and Nico Williams starts, I'm fine because I've got a transfer this week and a transfer next week. I'm going to hold this week, and then I'll probably take out Kevin De Bruyne for Trossard, and I'll probably take out Jesus for possibly Kane. And then I've got to start an 11. But Nico Williams, as you were saying, you don't think he's going to get back in the team?
Well, unless actually he's up against Sergio Aurier, so there's a good chance that he could get back in the team. He's got
because he's suspended
via red card.
Yeah. I think for me it's hold, isn't it? I think it's hold and see.
I think it's hold. Yeah. I think it's hold and see. But what you just described there seemed absolutely fine to me.
Yeah,
absolutely fine.
And then I'll have such a beautiful team for 3 weeks until the World Cup. I don't know, man. I'm sort of slightly regretting not using my wild card earlier. But I'm such a sort of patient, like, wait, let's just see. And then what I've seen is people go 60 points in front of me. So I think I'm a hold. That's a great question, though, from Iain. Thank you very much. We're now going to go to another question. This is exciting, mate. This is very exciting. We've got a question fresh from CBB's Bedtime Stories. We've got a question from Harry Kane. Okay, now I'm just going to play this in for you.
It's Harry Kane here, captain of England and captain of Tottenham. I'm not captain of Tottenham. I'm the vice captain. I think I'm the Hugo Lloris is the captain, but I'm just like a voice in the dressing room, which is sometimes as important. Sometimes you lead on the pitch. So at the end of the day, it's the start of the day, and I have a question for you, Luke and Dan. So sometimes I want to be a little mouse and be as brave as a mighty lion. So if I want to be brave and captain someone different from Erling Haaland, who should I captain this week? So that's it really. Cheers. Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe we got Harry Kane to send a voice note. That's pretty amazing, that, isn't it?
What a coup.
It blows my mind every week we get these amazing guests. Okay, so Harry Kane wants to know, is there anyone else you can captain if you want to be a brave little mouse and be a mighty lion? Who could you captain if you weren't captaining Haaland this week?
In my opinion, I'm having a look at the fixtures here. There's a number of options. If I don't mind Fulham at home against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are doing well.
Yes.
Actually, both. Sort of absolute out there punts. You could have Dominic Solanke's turning up.
So he's at home against Bournemouth. And Fulham's defence is shocking. So I like this. Solanke captain.
Why not?
You got to do it.
Bit more.
You said it now.
A bit more of a boring choice, but again, still sort of out there. Let's try and be interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
Right. Chelsea away at Villa. Villa looks stinky, don't they? They look stinky. And Aubameyang is not looking that stinky. No. Why not have a little nibble?
Yeah, little nibble, little Aubameyang nibble. I like a little a bitey yang. I like it. It. Okay, Obama, yes, that's nice.
Oh, and here we go.
Oh,
right, this is it. This is nailed on. This is the absolute nailed on one. West Ham away at Southampton. Southampton, it's a team of babies.
Oh no,
they don't look good.
Oh, okay.
So why not? Yeah. So I'm saying Jared Bowen.
Okay, away at Southampton, Jared Bowen.
I'm saying Bowen, Solanke, or Aubameyang. There you go.
One other one I will say, and I wonder if this is why Harry sent us this voice note, is because he was trying for a bit of attention, is because he wanted us to pick him at home to Everton.
Right.
Do you think Kane could be a possible captain at home to Everton?
Well, yeah, I would say that's probably the most sensible pick out of all the
But it's not.
fixtures.
It's not, is it? It's Haaland. It's only Haaland. I think.
Yeah, of course it's Haaland.
We're gonna go through the fixtures quickly now because I've had enough of your time. But I think it's very clear to see that Liverpool are going to absolutely trounce. City are going to absolutely trounce Liverpool. Now, I'm just going to turn this off here so we can see the fixtures. Right. Have you got the fixtures in front of you there?
I certainly do.
Right, we'll go through them quickly because, I've bored enough people with my bullshit opinions. Now, look, first game, Friday night. So that means the deadline is 6:30 on Friday. Be aware of that. Brentford at home to Brighton. Any players in that you want to quickly talk about and what a prediction for a score?
Well, Friday night games, love them. Goals galore. Goals galore under the floodlights on a Friday.
They are.
Ivan Toney definitely up for that.
Yeah.
He's definitely up for that.
He's so good.
Yeah. I think I would look at Toney, obviously. I don't mind that. And just carrying on, because goals galore on a Friday night, the Saturday afternoon, the 12:30 fixture, I never go anywhere near that. It's the dullest dishwater game for me. Even like when Salah was in his pomp, I wouldn't be captaining Salah when he was playing at 12:30. Yeah, it was always just really slow pace. There's no atmosphere.
Yeah, you're basing it on the time of day they play. Okay. I remember Rooney getting very annoyed when the 12:30 fixtures came in because he was like, it's just absolutely nightmare. You have to eat pasta at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, it must be an awful shame on 300 grand a week having to eat pasta at 8.
I love pasta.
I know. I'd eat pasta. Sometimes I do eat it at 3 in the morning. Nothing wrong with pasta. Although I wasn't carbo loading. I was just staring at the fridge crying.
You were just sad.
Yeah. Okay, so Brentford, Brighton, want to put a score on it?
I would go 2-1 Brentford.
2-1
Toney with both the goals.
Okay, I'm going to go, because I think Brentford, they looked a little bit shaky.
A little bit shaky.
I'm going to go, I'm with you on goals galore, though. So I'm going to go Brentford 2, Brighton and Hove the Albion 3.
Oh, I love it. I like how I said goals galore as well, then went with 2-1 Brentford.
You need 4 for a galore, don't you?
You do. You need 4 for a galore.
Galore is nothing unless it's got 4. Okay, Leicester, Crystal Palace. Early kick-off. I'm guessing you're thinking 0-0.
It's 0-0. It's 0-0. And it'll probably be 1-0 Palace. Zaha pen, Rodgers out.
Right, you think this could be Rodgers' last game for the group?
No,
show you everyone who's in the envelope. Well, look, I've got Maddison and James Justin, so I'm hoping for 7-0 Leicester. But I think Leicester are desperate at the moment. If Rodgers has still got the dressing room, then I think this is going to be a bit of
which he does, I think.
Okay, you know this firsthand. Okay,
I've had a few chats with
Daka. Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-2. I like the look of Daka. I recommended him to some people. One word on Leicester is if you are thinking of bringing in Daka, they have got very quick turnaround with their fixtures on the Saturday, then in midweek, then again next week. So Daka and Vardy could share the minutes there. Just a little warning.
I wouldn't be going anywhere near either of those players. Really? My lord,
he's a cheap player, Daka, cheap player, and he when he plays, he scores.
There's a reason he is cheap.
Okay. Okay, I cannot believe I bought in a Leicester defender. But I think it's going to be 2-2 Leicester and Palace. And you've gone for 1-0 Palace. Okay, next up, this is a 3 o'clock game. Is that good for your timing?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock and not on television.
Okay.
That's the perfect. That's a sweet spot for FPL.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, but Fulham Bournemouth, that screams 3-2, 2-3, doesn't it?
Beg, borrow, steal a ticket. I've already said I think Bournemouth look okay, and I think Fulham look shaky at the back. And if Mitrovic isn't fit, I think Bournemouth are going to win this. What do you think?
I don't think Bournemouth are going to win this because I think Bournemouth have been outperforming their
XG.
results
Okay, yeah.
severely. And I think Fulham look quite tidy, actually, even though they are shocking in defence. I think Bournemouth will get a goal, and I reckon it'll be 3-1 Fulham.
Okay, I'm going to stick with my prediction and go 2-1 Bournemouth.
Ooh.
Yeah. Wolves, Nottingham Forest. I would just like to
This
point
looks-
out, 3 o'clock, not on the telly. What are you saying?
It's got this stinks of desperation, doesn't it?
Mm.
Two teams flailing about in the dirt trying to rescue their seasons. Wolves look a mess, and it turns out Lopetegui's turned them down this morning
really?
as we record. Yeah,
So no manager.
So no manager, and I reckon Forest are going to turn up the heat, and I think Forest will win
A Forest fire.
2-0. It's time for the Forest fire.
One time when a Forest fire is good.
They suddenly click. Emmanuel Dennis finds his form from the start of last season. Bang, bang, in you go.
Morgan Gibbs-White's going to score a hat-trick, isn't he?
Oh, he's playing against his former club.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, for the love of Christ. Okay,
Dennis Gibbs-White.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Nottingham Forest 3-0. Yeah. Okay, Tottenham Everton 5:30. How do you feel about that, Dan? 5:30. Does it also 5:30? Does that, with your theory on times of games, does it vary the time of year? Okay, because we're still British summertime. Does that vary? Does the sunlight make a difference?
Of course, it makes a difference.
Okay, good.
Of course, it makes a difference.
Right.
Beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I would say it pretty much goes. There's joy in the air.
Yeah.
There's suns out. There's goals to be had.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, and then it will move on. It will move on to when the nights start getting dark. The days start getting darker.
The gloves start getting warm.
Yeah, the gloves start getting warm. You can see the players in those black tights.
Yeah.
The goal element will drop off. It will drop off.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it will drop off. And then when you reach the end of the season, that's where chaos happens, because you get a combination of dirty dog teams flailing about in the dirt trying to rescue their season, combined with teams who are A, on the beach, and B, managers just putting out experimental lineups who don't care. And that's where things can happen. But as we're talking now, 5:30 at this stage of the season, between two of the most unwatchable sides in the league.
Yeah, agreed.
However, it looks like the type of who did Tottenham play? That was it. They beat Brighton.
Yeah,
1-0.
stunk the gaff out. Yeah.
Similar time. Was it the same time last week?
It was. Yeah.
We're having the same again. It's 1-0.
1-0 Tottenham.
Harry Kane. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
that's it.
I'd like to. We won't delve into it now, but I'd like to look at a sort of a floodlight XG. Because I feel like under the lights, that can make a difference. And I think we'll be under the lights at 5:30 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Google Stadium that it's going to become. They're constantly just searching, where's our trophy? Okay, I think you've made a good shout here. I think Tottenham 1-0. Yeah, good shout, man. I was really disagreeing last week. These are great. God, you know your onions. Okay, Sunday, Villa Chelsea.
Right, again, we're talking 2:00 kickoff on the Sunday. It's a stinky.
Yeah,
it's a stinky
You're prepping
time.
the potatoes at this point. You're not concentrating on a game.
Exactly. However, Villa look rubbish.
Yeah,
I don't know. They look rubbish. They look done, and I can't see Gerrard being their manager by the end of the season. Chelsea look frisky. I mean, it just looks like a get in there, get the job done.
Getting it
2-0
together.
Chelsea.
Yeah, they're getting it together under Potter. I think, oh God, I find that hard to disagree with. Definitely a clean sheet for Chelsea. I'm going to go 4-0.
Oh,
Mason
Gerrard
Mount back
out.
in form. Mason Mount back in form. I think Mason Mount, actually, if you are still watching by this point, I do think Mason Mount is a player to keep an eye on. You know, I think he's got
Mason Mount.
4 assists in 3 games now. Like, Mace, that's what they call him. I hate that Chelsea fans go, Mace, get Mace in. That's why I hate Tottenham fans calling him Sonny. Oh, God, get a grip. Okay, a 4-0 Chelsea then. Leeds Arsenal. Go on the Arsenal. What do you think?
What do I think? Well, Arsenal looking like, apart from City,
Best team in the world.
an absolute tour de force.
Yes.
An absolute tour de force. Leeds aren't that bad, I don't think.
No.
I don't think they are that bad. And it's a tough one to predict this because Arsenal could easily score 4 and Leeds do
against
nothing.
Jesse March's defence.
Against the old defence. But do you know what? Luke?
Go on.
I'm going to go bold and I'm going to say Leeds get something out of this.
That's the end of the episode. Thanks very much for being on. I think people are just about coming around to the fact that this Arsenal team are the real deal. And I think there is no chance we don't win this game. Oh, God, why did I say that?
Arsenal are definitely the real deal, but they cannot also win every game.
No, we've already lost one. We're going to win the rest and win the league and win 37 out of 38. And people will still go, yeah, but I ain't played anyone good, though. So I think Arsenal are going to win this, and I think it's going to be... The thing is, right, is I do agree with you. I think Leeds have been better than their results have shown, but I still don't think they're that good going forward. So I'm going to go, and Sinisterra is still out. Bamford's got, chocolate shins. I think we'll go with... I think I'm going to go with an Arsenal 3-0. That's why I've kept hold of my Arsenal players. Because I still think Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus have got points in them this week. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, my head agrees with you, and that makes total sense. But also, I would not be surprised if this finished 2-2.
Okay, yeah. I will be very sad if that happens. Man United, Newcastle.
Oh, tasty. And well done for Sky for choosing Aston Villa versus Chelsea over Manchester United versus Newcastle.
Fuming. Over Arsenal Leeds. I mean, maybe I would say that. But anyway, go on. Yeah, United, Newcastle. That would be such a better game to have on Sky Sports, United, Newcastle. Sorry, carry on.
It would be. I think it's going end to end, but 1-1. I can see that 1-1.
Okay, that'd be a great result for Newcastle. Yeah.
Do you think for Newcastle?
Yeah, I do actually. I do. I think because they've got to put a couple of wins together. I think United are back in form. They've only lost that one game in 5 now, and that was against City, who were unbelievable. So, and they've won all the other ones. So I think a 1-1 at Old Trafford for Newcastle, I think they'd take that.
I thought Man United looked a bit rubbish in those games they won as well.
Yes, I just think against Everton, it's like you were saying earlier though, they've got the players, they
can just turn it on.
Yeah, I mean, I think 1-1's a fair shout, and again, I agree with you. Sorry, I don't know why I'm apologising, but I do. Southampton, West Ham.
Oh, Saints looking sticky. West Ham starting to turn it on. I can see that being. Do you know what? Let's go. It's the week of sackings. West Ham win that 3-1. Hasenhüttl gone.
You think it's a sacking bonanza? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with 3-0 to West Ham. And I think that's why I think Bowen. Also, what I would say, and I've not mentioned him, and I can't believe I've got an hour and 8 minutes in, and I've not mentioned him, Cresswell. I think Cresswell is a really good option going forward in the West Ham defence, because I think they are starting to pull things together. I'm a big fan of Moyes. Yeah. So I think Cresswell is worth looking at if you are looking, because I know a lot of people bought in Soufal in their wild cards, and I don't think West Ham defence is a problem. Soufal is, because he's third choice now, but I would look at Cresswell. Great on set pieces and seems to be a firm fixture in David Moyes' team. Finally, let's look at Liverpool, Manchester City, and then we will close out this episode. Liverpool, Manchester City. What are your thoughts?
I think this is going to be the nadir of Klopp's reign.
Oh.
We're talking 5-0 City. They just absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah.
4-0 by half-time.
Yeah. They're going to embarrass them, aren't they? Because City look pretty fit. The one thing I would say is on Foden is that Guardiola made some weird... Did you see this? He made some weird comments last night. He said, more than you'll believe, he said that Foden has some disturbing problems. So I'm presuming he means injury-wise, not just he's just like shaking at home, having watched Saw 3. But I think, I think just be a little bit careful when looking to, if you are bringing in Man City players for this. I know not many people will because of the Blankety Blank, but wait for press conference to find out if he's fit. De Bruyne paid.
They've got an all right bench, though, to be fair, haven't they?
They do, but I'm just thinking if you're bringing in Foden,
right? Sure, yeah.
I agree. I still think they'll win. I think it'll be 4-0. You're going 5-0. I'm going 4-0. Liverpool look an absolute mess. Klopp knows it as well. They won't sack him though, will they?
Nah. Absolutely not. That'd be
in the bank. He's got money in the bank.
Be a mad decision.
Yeah, you never know. Football. You've seen stranger things in football. Well, look, those are all the fixtures. The last question we always ask on this is, who's your captain? Who's your captain?
Haaland.
Yeah, mine's Haaland as well. Great. Okay, Dan, do you want to tell people where to follow you?
Find me on Twitter at DanCook100. Find me on Insta at _Daniel_Cook.
Lovely stuff. Make sure you do. And go and see him live. He's bloody brilliant.
Please.
I'm going to put the sub button up one more time. Who's your captain? Subscribe, like it, tell your friends, tell me what you think. Tell me you think I'm talking shit. I'm happy to hear it. That's it for this week. Dan, you have been an absolute masterclass. Thank you so much for coming on. Please come back and good
I'd
luck.
love to.
And good luck this week. All the best, Dan. All the best, everyone.
Bye.
Good luck with your teams. Hope you get green arrows. And I will see you all next week. We're going to do an episode on Monday. I don't know who the guest is going to be. Who knows? Bye. Good luck.